Now, if you are new to iPad music production, you might not be aware that there's actually some pretty comparable alternatives to the desktop plugins that you've been using for years. And we're going to show you what those are, right after this. Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am your host, Vortex, from MobileMusicPro.com, your home for mobile music production. And if you are new to the channel, what we do here is release weekly videos teaching people how to produce music on their iOS device. Now, whether you're starting out your music production journey on the iPad, or if you're coming here from the desktop, this video should still be pretty useful. Because it is still early days for iPad music production, not every single music plugin has made the transition over yet. But there has been quite a few, and there will be a lot more coming. And in fact, in next week's video, we're going to get into exactly which of those popular music plugins did make the transition over from desktop to iPad. But hey, in the meantime, these alternatives are great and sound absolutely fantastic. And of course, if you think that we missed any great alternative apps, definitely make sure to leave those in the comments below. Alright, and now with that intro aside, let's get into these top desktop plugin alternatives for the iPad. But first up, we just want to issue our usual disclaimer here for these types of videos, and that is that this isn't a tutorial video on how to use each and every one of these different apps. Instead, we just want to give you a brief overview and showcase what we think makes these apps so special. And to do that, we've used these plugins in a couple of different projects. So first, we'll show you those, and then we'll get into these top apps. So first up, we have a trap project here. So let's play this project for you first, and then we'll show you our EDM project, and then we'll finally get into these apps. Alright, very cool, and again, we'll show you how we use these plugins in just a second. But first, let's now bring up our EDM project. Alright, perfect. Now, let's bring back that trap project and start going through these plugins. Alright, now the first desktop plugin that we're going to talk about replacing is going to be Sausage Fattener by Data Life. And to substitute or replace that for the iPad, we're going to be using Beef by Kalium Audio, currently available for $7.99 in the App Store. Now, Beef is a multi-effect audio plugin with a sole purpose: to make your tracks sound more beefy. It brings all the effects you need to create powerful sounds into one efficient and easy-to-use window. And we are using it for a couple of different things here. But first up, and most important, we are using it on our bass. So first up, let's go ahead and A/B this real quick for you, and we'll solo this track so you can hear it with and without the plugin. Alright, now it might have been a bit difficult to hear that without the plugin, because without that plugin, I have the volume turned down pretty low. Because in addition to additional saturation and overall oomph, I am bringing up the level with the plugin as well. Now this is the only track that I'm using Beef on for this project, but let's quickly bring up the EDM project and show you how we're using Beef in there. Now inside of this EDM project, we are using this on a couple of different tracks. First up, we are using Beef on our drums track here, or rather our drums bus or drums group track. So we can pull up Beef here and see that we are using the Big Lows preset. And it's definitely going to make a big difference here. It really does bring a ton of life to your drums. But not just drums, we're also using on our melody as well. But first, let's A-B these drums with and without the plugin. Disabled, and let's enable it. Alright, so definitely a big difference there in those drums. Again, like we said, just bringing a ton of life, not only with extra low end, but also with some extra frequencies in the top end as well. Now let's demo the melody track. Alright, again, absolutely amazing, adding some of those higher frequencies, or adding some more air, if you will. You can see you have just so much control with this plugin, but it does get pretty crazy, because you can actually make this interface even easier to use if you'd like. If you just tap on the preset mode here in the top left-hand corner, it'll then reduce the interface to just one big button here. In this particular simple preset mode here, you can see that it definitely more resembles the Sausage Fattener app on the desktop. And the next app that we'll be replacing or substituting with is going to be OTT by X4 Records. And we will be replacing that app here with Woott by Brambos, currently available for $3.99 in the App Store. Now, this app Woott was inspired by the infamous OTT sound and uses a triple band dynamics algorithm with simultaneous downwards and upwards compression. As a result, it is perfect for creating over-the-top sounds and blowing up average sounds to massive proportions. Now, we will be sticking with our EDM track here, as we did use this app extensively in this project. So first up here, we are using the Woott plugin on our bass track. Now, as it did mention, it does have this triple compression here, and you can see that right here. And just like the previous app, this app has a ton of amazing presets that you can browse through as well. So now let's go ahead and A/B this particular bass track with and without this plugin. Alright, beautiful. As you can hear, they're definitely adding a bunch of extra high frequencies and a bunch more oomph and low end to that sound, really changing the overall character completely. Alright, now let's keep going. Let's hear a few more A/B tests with this app. So we have a couple of synths here. We'll start out with the plugin disabled, and let's hit play. Again, apologies about the low level without the plugins, because both that Beef plugin and the Woott plugin is definitely going to be upping the levels of all these tracks. But nevertheless, you should still be able to get the gist here. Man, you can just really create such huge and epic sounds with this OTT plugin, which is why the OTT plugin is used so much on the desktop. And sometimes in electronic genres, people throw multiple OTT plugins on there, which I think is a little bit beyond my sound design capabilities at the moment, because I can pretty much break a track with just one of these things. So yeah, definitely an over-the-top plugin. Alright, now for the next couple of plugins, we're going to be back in our trap project. And the next desktop plugin that we'll be substituting or replacing here on the iPad is going to be Halftime by CUBASIS. And we will be replacing that with Slow Machine by Bleece, currently available for $7.99 in the App Store. Now, thanks to 3 different yet complementary ways of manipulating time with creativity, Bleece Slow Machine can deepen any beat by completely or partially slowing down the audio signal, transform epic leads into heavy basses, and add some tape stop effect with precision, either by touching the XY stop trigger or by dialing in precise sequence automations. Now, we only ended up using this plugin on one of our tracks, but still it makes a pretty big difference here. Let's disable all the plugins and hear it by itself first, and hit play. Now, this melody in particular is coming from our Midnight Melody Pack available on our website at MobileMusicPro.com. Now let's enable Flux Pro and Bleece Machine and hear the difference. Alright, very nice. We definitely slowed down that melody and kind of made it sound much more spooky because we also added some reverb in there too. In the send effects, we are using crystalline. So that's going to make it sound a little bit more far away and a little bit more haunting, a little bit more dark. So let's do a quick A/B test now with Bleece Slow Machine. Start out with the plugin disabled, and then we'll hit play. So definitely completely transforming the melody there, making it much more dark. And just like the rest of the apps, this will have amazing presets in here as well, and a super easy to use interface if we make it bigger. You can see that it is split into 2 different sections here, including the down and stop section, and then the sequencer section, allowing you to dial in precisely timed effects there. So really cool stuff. Now usually I just keep this on the default preset here, but as you can see there are a ton of presets to choose from. So there's definitely going to be no shortage of creativity with this app. Now this next plugin that we're going to be replacing is also from CUBASIS, and that is going to be Shaperbox. And the app that we will be replacing that with on the iPad is going to be Flux Pro by Kalium Audio, currently available for $11.99 in the App Store. Now Flux Pro is a multi-effects modulation plugin that transforms your sounds into colorful, character, and dynamic tracks. There are 3 customizable graphs which can perfectly sculpt your sound. Simply set the depth of the controls in the 4 effect slots, from which you can use a variety of 10 different modulation effects. So we do have the app pulled up here, and again everything is pretty much in one screen here, with an absolutely gorgeous interface. Now this app is absolutely fantastic for adding movement to your melodies, and that's how we used it here in this track as well. So we added this particular Flux Pro on both of our brass sections here. So let's go ahead and A/B this with and without the plugin. So we'll turn it off and hit play. Alright, just some nice brass stabs there using the microsonic inside of CUBASIS 3. Now let's enable the plugin. Alright, perfect. Definitely adding some additional rhythmic movement to this sound. And we did the same thing with the track below it there, which is very similar. And as you can see here, we are just using the init preset for both of these different brass sections. You can of course get really advanced with all these different shapes here, including some sidechain shapes, but we're just using the basic init preset here. So let's start with the plugin disabled and hit play. Alright, really cool. And this plugin is really great to use both in EDM and trap tracks, simply because of the different rhythmic properties that it can add to melodies. So again, this app's absolutely great for adding rhythmic motion to your melodies and really just customizing your melodies in general. Alright, now the final plugin that we'll be trying to replace in this particular trap project is going to be RC20 by XLN Audio. Now we are going to cheat a little bit here and replace that with two different apps instead of just one. And the main app that we'll be substituting that with is Time Machine by 4Pockets, currently available for $4.99 in the App Store. Now, if you do long for the nostalgic days there of warped records, worn needles, static-laden, crackle-ridden vinyl, then this plugin is exactly what you're looking for. It simulates the sound of early gramophones, radiograms, record players, all the way through to the late 80s turntables. You can either select an age or tweak individual settings to add warp, dust, scratches, and good old-fashioned hiss to your recordings. Now, as we said, we did use a couple of different apps here because the first one is going to be more of a vinyl app, and the second one is going to be more of a tape warble app. So we have our vinyl app and our tape app. And of course, RC20 has both of those things, both vinyl and tape built in. So first up, let's go ahead and solo our melody without any of these plugins and hear what that sounds like. Alright, pretty cool sound, but let's go ahead and add some Time Machine and then some vibe effects. Now you can hear that crackling in the background here, and that is coming from the vinyl emulation inside the Time Machine app. So let's turn this off for now. But just like the description says, you can dial in warp, wear, amount, and much more. Again, completely changing the vibe and feel of your melody. Alright, now we are back in our EDM project to showcase the final app today that we'll be replacing from the desktop, which is going to be Kickstart 2 by Nick Romero. And the app that we will be replacing that with or substituting with on the iPad is going to be Sidekick by Blease, currently available for $7.99 in the App Store. Now, the Blease Sidekick app is the first iOS AV3 effect plugin that offers a kick drum synth and a sequencer coupled with a sidechain compressor in order to bring that unique and creative dynamics to your music. Now, just like Kickstart 2, Blease's Sidekick app was designed with just that one laser-focused use case scenario, which is going to be adding that pumping effect, or what we call sidechain compression. So let's show you what we mean here. We have one of our loops pulled up here inside of our EDM project, and all the drums and sounds that you hear from this is coming from our brand new premium EDM pack called Voltage that we'll be releasing next week. So if you do like the drums and melodies in here, keep an eye out on the website, as that will be releasing next week with an initial 2-week discount. So just like before, let's go ahead and A/B the plugin. We'll disable it first, and then hit play. So just like all of Blease's apps, this is super easy to use and has a gorgeous interface. And if you're not actually even using the synth drum over here, then you can just worry about the Ducker section in the far right-hand side. You can dial in all your precise settings in here, including threshold, attack, release, ratio, and makeup. And we did use this on a bunch of our tracks. Basically all of our melody and chord tracks here. This one, and this one. So maybe let's demo one more track with this app. So let's start out with the plugin disabled, and then hit play. So again, just a super easy to use app to achieve that sidechaining pumping effect. Alright, and now it's time again for our final thoughts. And if you are still rocking with us, then we just can't thank you enough for being here, especially those folks that are here every single Wednesday and Friday to watch our live streams and our live premieres. Now don't get me wrong folks, these alternatives are absolutely fantastic, but I am still holding out hope that a few more desktop plugins will make the transition. Now one of the things that developers mention is that they get a little bit discouraged when they have to lower their prices a bit. But I do always counter that with a couple of different benefits, including the fact that there's virtually no piracy on the iPad. Because there really is a hunger out here to have basically desktop functionality and capabilities, but in an iPad form factor. And that's really because the end result is something very magical, something that's just different and that you really can't quite capture on a laptop. And speaking of results, we hope you are working hard on your contest entry because the deadline is coming up pretty soon on July 20th. There's already been a bunch of fire tracks that have been submitted and we are just having a blast listening to them all. So definitely make sure to head over to the website at MobileMusicPro.com/contest, download the free sample pack, and submit your original production for your chance to win a piece of the over $500 in total prizes. And we're always releasing new stuff over here at the channel, including sample packs, giveaways, contests, and much more. So if you do want to keep up with everything that we are doing here, definitely make sure to sign up for our completely free newsletter at MobileMusicPro.com/newsletter. And so until next time, everybody, keep talking music, and we'll see you later. Hey everybody, Vortex here, and if you're not aware yet, we now have over 100 fully edited mobile music tutorial videos. And we make music every single Wednesday live on our channel right inside of CUBASIS on our iPad. Plus, we also have a bunch of free sample packs, guides, and more at our website at MobileMusicPro.com/free. And so if you are into that sort of thing, producing music on your iPhone or iPad, then definitely make sure to subscribe and check out the rest of the videos on the channel that we know you'll love.